Whenever people in gym class would pick teams for basketball or something, I would always be one of the last people to get chosen. And as some of you might know, when you're picked last, you have to do that embarrassing walk over to the team with the last pick without anyone actually choosing you. What made it even worse was that I am somewhat athletic and play sports, and kids who weren't even athletic or didn't play any sports were picked before me. This happened with pretty much everything, even outside of school. If me and friends were playing sports, I would be one of the last picks. If not, I would just be last. On top of that, whenever the teacher said pair up for a group activity during class, I wouldn't even bother turning to anyone. I already knew that everyone had a pair but me. And you would think that I would have a friend in that class who wasn't friends with anyone else or would just be my partner for the class. But nope, I was never their first choice either. I always got paired up with someone who I have never talked to before and they also didn't have a partner. Or if I got really unlucky, the teacher would say out loud, "Who doesn't have a partner?" And I would have to raise my hand in embarrassment, and the whole class would just look at me. That was a pleasant experience. I already had bad anxiety and was pretty insecure at the time, so this just made all of that stress much, much worse. During this time, whenever I would play video games and was almost always able to play with my friends because most games had teams of four, or if I was playing Rainbow Six Siege, it would have a team of five. So I was at least happy that I wasn't left out of playing video games or the last one to play with them. But then a few years later, whenever I would ask someone if they wanted to play, they would say that they're playing with other friends right now, or maybe later or something. And I obviously understand and respect that. Sometimes you just want to play with someone else, that's fine. But I checked their profile like 10 minutes later and they have a third person playing with them. Then a little while later, a fourth. And it's just like, okay, well, I guess I was the last choice. I wasn't even a choice. Like, they just didn't want to play with me. Now, it's pretty obvious to see what's going on here. I was just their last choice, so I just let it happen. I didn't really, because, what am I going to say? It doesn't really matter. It is what it is. Around this time, I started, distancing myself from real life, started playing a lot more video games in VR, because I really didn't have many people to hang out or play with. So I did what I enjoyed, playing video games and VR with random people online, and most of them were in the same boat as me, lonely, and nobody wanted to play with them. Some of the people I met were homeschooled, and obviously they can't really get friends outside of video games and VR because they have no one to talk to. They're not in a real class. So, yeah. Around this time, I had a very unhealthy obsession with VR and video games. I would play for hours a day, and no, not just one or two, at least 6 or 8 hours a day. Yep, and most of that time was in virtual reality, so my eyes were pretty fucked up. Now, obviously, I'm not proud of this. It wasn't healthy. But at the time, I was really unhappy. I didn't really hang out with a lot of people. And being online helped me hang out with other people that were similar to me or people that really couldn't say, no, I'm hanging out with someone else right now. During this time when I went to school, I didn't really talk to many people and not really talking to my friends, stayed kind of quiet, just kind of did my own thing, mainly avoiding people. Eventually, a few years later, I decided to give real life another chance and stop playing VR and video games for hours a day and just hanging out with new people, talking. Whenever I would play video games or was in VR, I had no problems. So I kind of just distanced myself from that. So I wasn't unhealthy anymore. When I stopped wasting my life playing video games all day, I started to get more friends, living much better life. I pretty much wasted about 2 years of my life avoiding my problems, and I guess you live, you learn. That's pretty much it. That sucked. See ya.